What's up, YouTube Combat here, and today I want to talk about the possibility of Sledgehammer being dismissed from a Call of Duty project in the future. Now, I don't like talking about this, and I'm not going to talk about this lightly. I know these are people's jobs, these are people's livelihoods, and they work tirelessly on their games, and they pour a lot of passion into them. But when you have the cash cow that is Call of Duty being ran by a studio that, in my opinion, has not done a good job yet, in 2 tries, it might be time to cut ties. It may be time to look and try to explore other opportunities. Try to see if you can merge them with Raven Studios. I understand that people put time and effort in this game, but when a game is so mismanaged as what Call of Duty World War II has been, with the enormous amount of server issues, the lack of content that's in this game, and the gross amount of problems with gunfights and consistencies, there's a lot of issues this game has beyond its very shallow gameplay design, with its lack of maps and bad progression system and bad create a class system. It just at its core isn't a very good game. And people hated Advanced Warfare. And people are not liking Call of Duty World War II. It sucks that pro players have to play games they may or may not like. That's part of the nature. But this game was promised to be so much more than it was. It was promised to bring Call of Duty back to its roots, and I don't remember the roots being this bad of Call of Duty, or this mismanaged. I am truthfully disappointed in the efforts that Sledgehammer put forward in this game. 9 multiplayer maps at launch is simply just unacceptable. 50-point domination in a score streak based game is absolutely unacceptable. The fact that the community has been asking for things like quicker sprint out times, 100-point domination, better net code, being able to spawn in at the beginning of every match instead of 30 or 40 seconds into a game. These little things we're asking for are falling on deaf ears with Sledgehammer. And it seems that they are too either arrogant to make these changes, because it's almost like they have to admit they did wrong, or they're just so oblivious to what's going on with their game that they don't want to change it. And part of me thinks it's the arrogancy of this studio that they couldn't have made a mistake. They're Sledgehammer. They're the ones that got hyped up by every YouTuber, everybody, because they're bringing Call of Duty back to its roots. So they got these big giant heads, and then they're like, we can do no wrong. Except you did a ton of wrong. And I'm sorry, when you make tweets saying, we've looked at the data and people want 50-point dom, have you looked at the YouTube community? Nobody out there is saying and singing the praises of 100-point domination. How about your sprint out time Reddit post? That went over well, right? That definitely touched the community right where it needed to be touched. You are so in touch with what the community wants. You are doing everything they're asking. The crazy thing is right now the community is actually against war maps being put into DLC in replacement of other multiplayer maps, because they're saying that one game mode should not be dedicated to that many maps. When you look at it, 25% of the maps in this game are in what? War mode. Exactly. Is that not depressing or disappointing to think about? That they decided to dedicate this much effort to that? Why couldn't some of the multiplayer maps be taken off sections of war maps? Why couldn't, the section from basically the bunkers all the way to the last bomb area of Operation Neptune be somehow remade into a nice map? Why couldn't there be a section of Operation Breakout used and Operation Griffin used? They have the ability there. The map's already designed. All you have to do is figure out how you're going to make it flow. There is a complete lack of transparency with Sledgehammer as well that I've noticed. You kind of know what Treyarch is doing all the time. You know what their plans are. You know what they're trying to do with their games. I'm not feeling the same way with this game. I'm feeling that they're trying to keep us in the dark as much as possible and saying, oh, we're working on buffs and changes that you guys are going to like. Still without fixing the netcode. The fact that I'm playing a search and destroy match and I have half the other team pop in with 30 seconds left to play when it's already a 2-on-1 game. Like, figure it out. It should not be this hard. The fact that it's been done in every other Call of Duty, but this one can't figure it out. If I'm Activision, I'm sincerely pissed off at the way that they've handled this year's Call of Duty, because there was so much hype leading up to it. It seemed that for once the hype train was actually going to deliver, the more and more YouTubers were talking about it. But as time's gone on, everything's starting to wear off, and this cash cow that Activision has is slowly deteriorating into less and less and less market share every year. And I think if you keep having a studio that's like Sledgehammer on, unless they do a little bit of cleaning house, you're not going to have this incredible cash cow you've had, because people are simply just not going to buy Sledgehammer games because they're simply just not good enough to compete with the other Call of Duties and the other AAA titles on the market right now. There's too many other games out there that in my opinion are better that this game that I'd rather play. So I'd rather go and take the DLC from Battlefield 1 and go play that. I'd rather go grab all the DLC for Black Ops 3 and play that. When there's money that I can put elsewhere, I'm going to do it, because the product right now is simply just not good enough. And I wonder if Activision has sincerely thought this, or if they put any time into it, or if they see the numbers that World War II supply drops are bringing in and are saying, oh, it's doing such a great job, even though half your community has already abandoned it 2 months in. Your last 2 titles have not lasted with fans. So you've got to step back and ask yourself, is there an issue with the product or the people making the product? Because I still believe there's ability in some of these developers to create a good Call of Duty, to create a great Call of Duty, to bring us back to that nostalgic feeling we have towards games like Call of Duty 4, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 2, those games, and bring us back to those eras. Because those games had their fair share of problems. Second Chance, One Man Army Noob Tubes, Juggernaut, Martyrdom, they all had these issues. But we all looked past them because there was so much more to the game than the problems. And it seems as Call of Duty's progressed, it's more about the problems than about the greatness that is the game. That's my biggest issue right now, is it seems to be more of a bitching fest of what's wrong with the game than what is actually good with it. And I'm sorry, this year's game with Sledgehammer, there's a lot more on needs improvement than excellent. That needs to be looked at, and I honestly wonder if you actually put Sledgehammer back on another project. I hate to think that people would lose jobs, but hey, it's a bitter, cruel world out there. And if you can't get it done and you can't deliver the product that your employer wants, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. Now, I'm not a game designer. I'm just somebody who plays games a lot and has put a lot of hours and days into this Call of Duty franchise. And Call of Duty World War II is just not up to the test of the other Call of Duties that were much, much better in the past. How is it 2018 now, and we still reminisce about the great times in 2009, and we can't replicate those types of games? Really questions where gaming is going. Not only that, but where's Call of Duty going? Thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, can you please hit that like button? If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. And until next time, guys, Combat is signing off. Peace.